What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're diving back into Destiny 2 with some news and updates, and we've got the first exotic nerf of the season inbound. Bungie also talk about some bugs and issues in Season 15, some of which are now fixed. But additionally, we'll talk about this season's exotic quest, Ascendant Realm secrets and more. Plus, Joe Blackburn confirms a new damage type in future, as well as talking about the upcoming dungeon, Galahorn and Witch Queen. So we've got loads to round up in this video. But before we get going guys, this video is sponsored by NordVPN. Nord is designed to keep our network safe. It allows us to hide our IP addresses and encrypt our connections on multiple different devices to stop folks spying on us, stealing our private data, or knocking us offline when we're playing games. NordVPN has a bunch of different capabilities, like creating virtual locations with a choice of 59 different locations, and this is useful for checking out games or other content that isn't available in our region. But Nord can also stop DDoS attacks from hitting your actual network by creating a virtual one. And this is obviously very useful when gaming and accessing content, but Nord is equally helpful for simply keeping our devices and data safe on public networks. It's really easy to use. We can auto-connect and let the app do the work for automatic protection, but there are also options to specify which servers we want to use. And there are more than 5,000 different servers, plus more tech-savvy settings in the app as well. So if you want to check it out, right now you can get a 2-year plan, plus 4 additional months with a huge discount when you follow the link in the description and use code Houndish in the store. So the details for that are down below. Up first today, let's speak about one of the new exotics for Season 15, and DMG tweeted, "We have an update from the sandbox folks, and we are looking to disable the visual tracking perk on the Rents driver in PvP modes. This change will come in a future hotfix." And so they are going to be adjusting or completely disabling the visual tracking perk. And so there we have it, the first nerf of Season of the Lost, I guess. Although safe to say, it is a very strong weapon in the Crucible, and that tracking is a significant component of that. So we can expect an update to that exotic in the coming weeks. However, Bungie are also taking action against some other exotics, and for our new friends, the Radiant Dance Machines, they said, due to an issue that allows hunters to dodge an unintended amount of times in a row, we've temporarily disabled the Radiant Dance Machines inside of Gambit and all PvP activities. And so we won't be able to use those for a little while. Kind of strange that they say an unintended amount of dodges. I thought that was the whole reason Radiant Dance Machines existed in D2. And of course the real problem is the Dynamo and distribution mods and how they allow the exotic to earn back super energy. So we'll have to see what Bungie do with that one. Give us your thoughts below. Also though, they say due to an issue where Titans could unintentionally do large amounts of damage with their throwing hammers, we've temporarily disabled the Worm God Caress exotic gauntlets. And so those are getting hit in the short term as well. Safe to say there are some exotics causing trouble this season. Also, Bungie Help tweeted, and they said they've resolved the following issues. Trials of the 9 weapons will now drop from the Prophecy dungeon, and also the Ascendant Ballast seasonal challenge now counts acquired anchors, but ones already picked up may not count, so players will have to wait until week 2 for completion. Kind of frustrating that that weekly challenge can be bugged out, but positive that the trials weapons are now dropping in the Prophecy dungeon, and Oddpog on Twitter did make an infographic for the drop, so the Phalanx Echo can drop the Judgment hand cannon as well as the Long Walk sniper rifle. The Hexahedron can drop the Last Breath auto rifle as well as the Swift Verdict sidearm, and then the Kel Echo can drop the Darkest Before pulse rifle as well as the Sudden Death shotgun. Up next though, a separate buggy thing we can talk about is the Deadeye title, and at the moment the Sweet Spotter Triumph to kill Vex Wyverns is actually bugged, but according to King Bullywith on Reddit, there is actually a workaround, and they say if you take a rocket launcher into a ritual playlist with strikes being the easiest and get 50 rapid or multi-kills, it'll award you a Gilded Triumph, which is normally hidden until unlocked, which actually allows you to skip the Sweet Spotter Triumph and get the title. So if you're willing to go and make those 50 rocket multi-kills, it is still possible to actually get the Deadeye title at the moment without completing Sweet Spotter, so definitely bear that in mind. Up next though, let's speak a little bit about the exotic quest for the season, and we now have a logical idea of when it may be available. So at the moment, to kick things off, we're completing rounds of Tracing the Stars quests, and these are upgrading the Caliburn Gatehouse. So this week, we deposited Atlas SKUs into one of the 4 terminals, and Mara teased that one of these 4 will lead to the vault where Aegis Scepter is hidden, and we have done that first one this week, so by the time we unlock the 4th, according to that we should have gained access to the vault, and this is further supported by the weekly challenges for Season 15, so there isn't actually a challenge to acquire the weapon in the next 3 weeks, but on week 5, there is a triumph to use Aegis Scepter to carve a path through the illusory barriers in the Shattered Realm and claim the treasures as they hold. So this indicates that by the 5th week, we'll already have access to the weapon, which is pretty awesome. And of course, these barriers in the Shattered Realm can be breached using Aegis Scepter. So there are going to be quite a few secrets and things to check out in Shattered Realm. And we should also point out that there are multiple areas. So when we look at the Ascendant Explorer Triumph, we can see that there are 3 branches. And we've got the Forest of Echoes, as well as the Debris of Dreams and the Ruins of Wrath. Interestingly, these can actually be seen from the starting position in the realm this week. And we can spot that one of the upcoming areas has an Oryx-style Hive ship to explore. So that's something else to look forward to this season. Moving on though, let's speak about Witch Queen for a moment. And recently, Joe Blackburn from Bungie went live on Twitch while answering some interview questions about the upcoming content. Something interesting he confirmed about Savathun is that one of her forms is 21 feet tall, so we are going to see a pretty hefty boss right there. However, he points out that Savathun has many forms of various different sizes, so that could be kind of similar to Oryx, where of course the raid version in his throne world was absolutely huge, but then we also fought other versions of Oryx during the campaign. Another interesting thing he touches on, when folks asked about Darkness subclasses, he says no Darkness subclass this expansion, but he adds that another one is in development for later on, and that will include a new damage type. This isn't something we're going to see in Witch Queen, and will be for later on, so probably the expansion that follows Witch Queen. But nonetheless, that's confirmation they are absolutely working on a brand new element and subclass type for the future. Also, the interviewer asks about Gjallarhorn, and Joe Blackburn said they've been reluctant to return it to the game until now, and they want to ensure that it won't disappoint, as well as bringing something new with the old, and he cites how other guns have changed between Destiny 1 and Destiny 2. So it is going to be updated. And he said that the dungeon in the Cosmodrome will award Gjallarhorn with minimal to no RNG. And it's interesting because in some of the trailer stuff it actually said complete the quest to earn Gjallarhorn, but they've also referred to it being a dungeon drop. So if it has no RNG, potentially it's something that's actually earnable via the dungeon, right? Either with a quest that we start before going into the dungeon, or a trigger that's found inside of the dungeon that actually enables us to earn the weapon. Regardless though, it will be integrated with that new dungeon. Xur still looks like he's going to be part of that upcoming dungeon, as he is shown in the artwork right here. So perhaps there'll be a bit of an Easter egg, considering Xur sold Gjallarhorn very early on in Destiny 1. He could actually be part of the process of acquiring the weapon in D2, but that is speculation for the moment. And so give us your thoughts about the return of Gjallarhorn, the 30th anniversary, and Witch Queen stuff. But next, Bungie have just confirmed that for Witch Queen they'll start updating the light subclasses to use the same subclass system as Stasis. And we are going to be seeing aspects, fragments, and effects introduced for the light subclasses, and initially they'll be updating the Void subclasses. Bungie start out by saying within Void, there are 3 negative status effects that you'll be applying to enemies. Firstly, we have Suppression, where the target is knocked out of any active abilities and can't activate any other abilities as long as suppression persists. On top of this, Afflicted AI can't shoot their weapons. Then there is Weaken, where the target takes increased damage and has their movement slowed, plus enemy AI combatants fire their weapons with decreased accuracy, and then Volatile, where the target is afflicted by unstable void energy and will explode upon taking additional damage or on death. Then there are 3 positive effects that we'll be applying to ourselves and allies. The Void Overshield, a protective barrier of void light which reduces damage taken from combatants. Invisibility, where you vanish from sight and don't appear on enemy radar. And Devour, where you feast on the energy of your foes and kills restore you to full health, grant grenade energy, and extend Devour. And so Devour will actually become an overall void ability. And then we have specific adjustments to classes. So for the Night Stalker Hunter, for Shadow Shot, Mobius Quiver, and the Super, we'll be able to fire 2 volleys of 3 void arrows in a cone, which seek out enemies and spawn void anchors on impact. On top of this, Shadow Shot makes tethered enemies volatile and deals increased damage to tethered targets. On top of this, there'll be the Stylish Executioner aspect, where defeating a weakened, suppressed, or volatile target grants invisibility and true sight, and after performing a Stylish Execution, your next melee attack while invisible weakens enemies. But also, a twist on Middletree Nightstalker's current Flawless Execution perk, and this aspect lets the hunter specialize in defeating debuffed enemies to keep looping their invisibility. For the Sentinel Titan, there will be the Overwatch aspect, and you can cast a Void Empowered Barricade to grant a Void Overshield to yourself and nearby allies, and the Empowered Barricade slowly regenerates the Void Overshield of allies bunkering behind it. Then there is Shield Toss, which is the projectile melee, and you can hurl your shield towards an enemy, and then the shield can ricochet off enemies and surfaces, granting you a small chunk of Void Overshield for each enemy hit. And finally, there is the Voidwalker Warlock, with Pocket Singularity, the projectile melee, and we can launch a tracking unstable ball of void energy that detonates when it nears an enemy, pushing targets away from the blast and making them volatile. Then there is the Child of the Old Gods aspect, and you can cast your Rift to summon a sentient black hole which hovers at your side. It'll launch itself at enemies, then begin siphoning their energy and weakening them, refunding their life force back to you as either grenade or melee energy or health. And then defeating enemies who are being siphoned by the child will refund some Rift energy. And that is just a preview of the initial set of changes that'll come to Void subclasses. Of course, this is a few months away, so there will be even more elements to this change. And once again, Void will be the first set of subclasses which are affected, but the goal in the long run, and across the course of the next year or so, will be to give this treatment to all of the light subclasses. And then as Joe Blackburn said, we can expect a new damage type and subclass type at some point in the future, most likely in the expansion following Witch Queen. And so there we go, guys. That is the news that we have to round up inside of the video today. So as always, I hope you have enjoyed this one. And if you have, a rating down below really does help us on the channel. Also, be sure to get subscribed and turn on notifications, as we've got a lot of Destiny content to keep up to date with, and I'll be posting things as soon as they drop right here on the channel. However, for now, I appreciate you guys tuning in as always, and whatever you get up to, I hope you have an awesome day.